The ranch once breathed with life. Bread baking, sunlight spilling across hay bales, laughter in every room. Now it just stood there, a skeleton of what once was. For 10 long years, Jacob Hale had lived alone. His heart hollow as the wind that swept across the Wyoming plains. The fences leaned, the barn sagged, and every corner of the house whispered her name. Clara. Her laughter still echoed, faint but alive in the dust. Each morning was the same. He'd rise before dawn, boil coffee on that old iron stove, and sit at the table where 2 cups once steamed, one set empty now, always across from him. He'd glance at it, feeling that same old ache. Her shawl still hung by the door. Her books still lined the shelf, dust soft as ash on their spines. He couldn't move on. Truth was, he didn't want to. The pain meant she'd been real. Folks in town spoke his name with quiet pity. They called him the ghost rancher, a man living among memories instead of thriving. When he rode into town for supplies, heads would nod, but no one asked how he was. Everyone already knew. That evening, the sky bled red across the land like a wound that wouldn't heal. Jacob was mending a gate when he saw dust rising far off, a wagon rolling slow through the dying light. He squinted. No one came out this fair anymore when it stopped by the porch. A woman stepped down, graceful but worn, her dark hair tied beneath a scarf. Dust covered her clothes, but her eyes stopped him cold, gray, deep. The same eyes that once looked at him across that same kitchen table. "Jacob," she said softly, her voice trembling. "It's me, Lydia." He froze, calloused hands gripping the fence rail. Lydia, Clara's younger sister, the one who'd run off to the city before everything fell apart. He hadn't seen her since the funeral. "What brings you here?" he asked, voice raw from years of silence. She smiled faintly, though her eyes told a different story. The city wasn't kind. "I've been searching for work, for peace, for somewhere that still feels like home. Thought maybe you could use a hand around here." He didn't answer at first. The only sound was wind shifting through the grass and the creak of porch steps under her boots. She looked so much like Clara it hurt to look at her, but behind that resemblance he saw something else. Loneliness. The same emptiness that had lived in him for a decade. Finally he nodded toward the house. "Rooms haven't been opened in years," he said quietly, "but you can stay a while." That night, under a cold white moon, the house seemed to breathe again. Jacob lit a fire in the stone hearth while Lydia unpacked her small suitcase in the guest room. The smell of smoke and soap filled the air, like memory coming back to life. At supper, they sat across from each other at the same old table. Her hands trembled as she ladled soup. He kept his eyes down, afraid of what might rise if he met her gaze. They spoke little about the weather, the land, the price of feed, but beneath each word flowed something heavier. Grief, guilt, and the fragile comfort of company. When Lydia laughed, just a small uncertain sound, Jacob nearly flinched. He hadn't heard laughter in that house for 10 years. Later, she stepped out to the porch. Thestars hung cold and endless above the prairie. Jacob followed, hands shoved in his pockets. "She loved this view," Lydia whispered. "She wrote me about it once, said, 'The sunsets here could heal anything.'" Jacob's throat tightened. "She believed in a lot of things I didn't," he muttered. Lydia turned to him, eyes soft with memory. "She believed in you, Jacob." Quote, he looked away. "Belief doesn't bring the dead back." "No," she said quietly, "but it keeps the living from forgetting how to feel." Her words lingered in the night air like smoke. For the first time in years, something in him stirred. Not love, not yet, but life. The ranch began to sound alive again after that. Boots on wood, dishes clattering, her voice humming low through the rooms. Jacob told himself it was gratitude. She cooked. She cleaned. She brought light back into a place that had forgotten what warmth was. But sometimes when the evening light touched her face, he saw Clara instead, and every memory came flooding back. He wanted to tell her to stop reminding him, but he didn't. He couldn't. He was tired of silence. One night, thunder rolled across the valley. A storm broke loose, wild, merciless. Jacob ran out to secure the horses. Rain slicing through there. When he stumbled back, soaked and shivering, Lydia was waiting at the door, a blanket in her hands. "Jacob, you'll catch your death," she said, wrapping it around him. Her hands brushed his skin. He froze, not from the cold, but the warmth of her touch. Lightning flashed for a heartbeat. They just stood there, 2 ghosts caught between what was and what could be. "I still miss her," he whispered. "So do I," Lydia said softly. "But she wouldn't want this. You've turned this house into grave." He turned from her, gripping the mantle. "It ain't right, Lydia. You're her sister. Every time I look at you, I see her. Maybe that's why I come, eh? She said, stepping closer. Maybe she sent me. He looked at her, unsure if it was hope or fear in his chest. Her fingers brushed his hand, gentle, trembling. You don't have to be alone anymore, Jacob. He wanted to pull away but couldn't. The storm outside roared like judgment, but the warmth between them held fast. After 10 years of cold, something inside him began to thaw. They stood there as lightning flickered, showing two broken souls who'd loved the same woman, both trying to find a way back to the living. Lydia touched his cheek. Jacob, she whispered. You deserve to feel alive again. He closed his eyes, heart pounding like a wild horse. He didn't know if this was mercy or madness, but he didn't move away. They sat by the fire long after the storm passed. No words, just rain soft against the roof. The quiet of two people who'd stopped running from their ghosts. When Lydia rested her head on his shoulder, he let her stay. It wasn't love, not yet. It was simply the peace of not being alone. As the fire light danced across the walls, Jacob felt Clara's memory not as a wound, but as a whisper. A whisper saying it was time to live again. When dawn came, the land was washed clean. The air smelled of earth and rain. Jacob woke first, his heart heavy yet still beating with something new. He looked at Lydia sleeping quietly beside the window. And for the first time in 10 long years, Jacob Hale didn't wake up alone.